Match is on. Let's just make sure that everything is good here. B3. Wow, that's already a surprise. Patrick at least used to play the London system. So B3 is a surprise from move 1. Okay. So which approach do I want to do? I mean, with these hyper-modern setups, which is what white is doing by not putting a pawn in the center, it gives you flexibility in how you want to set things up. So I could play classically with D5, C5, or I could go for D6, E5 and try to stunt the bishop. I could go bishop G7 to oppose that bishop. Let's see, if I go for D6, what the heck, let's go for D6. All right. I normally play D5, but D6 is a little wrinkle. Okay. And let's establish a pawn in the center. Okay, so now question is, do I want to just develop the bishop here? I could fianchetto it. That would take 2 moves, whereas this only takes 1. Yeah, lots of flexibility here. I can go C6 to take away the D5 square. Could go C5 to basically clamp down on the D4 square. So decisions, decisions. Let's go bishop to E7. Keep things flexible. And see what Patrick's going to do here. What is he going to do? D3 is a little surprising because I think a lot of the times when you fianchetto your dark squared bishop, you go for a dark square strategy with either E3, D4, or conversely E3, F4. And I was just about to say, unless Patrick's plan is for a double fianchetto. And that's exactly what he's doing here. And so he's likely going to go for some type of hedgehog system. Which is not aggressive. It's kind of a develop your pieces and kind of wait and see what your opponent does. Hedgehog is much more commonly played as black. In fact, I don't know if they call it the hedgehog when white plays it. I imagine they do. Okay, well, if I go C5, I'm relinquishing D5 right away. Whereas C6 has some merit. Not only does it help support the D5 square, it stunts the bishop that's going to go on G2. So I think I'll go with that. I like that idea. Now I haven't castled yet. I'm keeping my options open. I basically want to see where Patrick is going to put his king. Although now that I say it out loud, I don't know if I'm giving any serious consideration to castling queenside. if he castles queenside, am I really going to go castle queenside myself? Probably not after having played c6, because I'd have a weaker structure in front of my king, whereas if it was on c7. Yeah, so maybe I'm just being a little too cute. I probably can safely castle here. I think that's fine. So this is a Reti opening, Nimzo-Larsen variation, according to chess.com, as you can see on your screen. So I've never actually met Patrick in person. Would like to do that someday. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is that if you or anybody else out there would like to play some rapid games against me, do message me. I am always looking for people to play. You don't have to know me. I don't have to know you in person. H6 makes a lot of sense because I want to play bishop e6 and I don't really want him to kick the bishop with knight g5. So there's a lot of merit to that. Maybe a5, a4, just to kind of get a reaction out of him. The problem is if I go a5, he might just go a4 and then my a pawn could be a surrogate. I guess ultimately I have to decide what I want to do with my queen's knight here. Do I want to go like this? Or do I want to... Yeah, maybe from here. I mean, I would still have the option to go there. Yeah, this probably is the way to go. And then rook e8. And then I could decide to go knight f8 or knight c5. It's just a matter of, do I want to block my bishop like that? Probably not. I probably want to get my bishop out and then play knight b to d7. So in order to do that, I'm going to have to create a flight square for my king, but more importantly, I'm taking away knight g5 ideas so that I can play bishop to e6. And I think I'll do that right away. No reason why I shouldn't. So now Patrick has a couple of ways to play this. He could go c4, and then it looks more like an English opening, where if white had played one c4 from the beginning, or he could play it more like a King's Indian attack. King's Indian attack is essentially this structure here with e4 and these pawns here. You don't generally have the dark squared bishop at that spot in the King's Indian attack. Okay. I suppose he could also go e3 and bide his time, maybe with future ideas of d4. Thing is, if he goes for d4, it bears the question, well, why didn't he just go d4 in the first place? So he's essentially taken two moves to play d4. Now, in the grand scheme of things, is that really going to matter to the result of the game? No. It's not going to make much difference. Let's see. I I'd seen earlier that Benjamin Bach, grandmaster from, I believe, the Netherlands, was streaming on Kick. So it looks like it may be a popular platform for chess quite soon. Okay, queen d7 makes sense because we target the h3 pawn, so king h2. If I go queen d7, well, then I'm taking away the d7 square for my knight. So queen d7, king h2, maybe then I go knight a6 with the idea to bring the knight here. May not be so bad. Of course, I don't have to play this. Okay, let's go rook e8. And the reason why I'm playing that is it's often useful to play bishop to f8 to add support to these two pawns, especially if white ever gets, say, bishop e3, queen d2 set up. There's always some sacrificial opportunities on h6. So bishop f8 is often a useful move. Okay. So I would say, given that I didn't play queen d7 last move, I probably shouldn't do it now, because he's already put his king to protect that pawn. So I could play it like my usual king's Indian defense stuff and play queen c7. And perhaps I have ideas of knight b to d7 and d5 taking the center. Those are some possibilities. Okay, let's go knight b to d7. And let's see what Mr. Patrick has in mind here. Okay, so he's going to go more of a king's Indian attack setup. Okay, with e4. So he might be thinking of dropping the knight in here someday. So it's possible I could play knight h7 to preempt that, because if he ever goes here, I can take it. I don't know if I should be that concerned about a knight on f5, because I do have bishop to f8. Generally, it's not a bad idea to strike in the center, so if I go queen c7 and he goes away from the center, I can strike in the center. But that's probably what he wants, though. He probably wants this so that he can play f4 and open up this rook. So it may not be so dumb for me to play knight h7, now that I think of it. The downside, of course, of knight h7 is it takes my knight away from the center. So if I go knight h7, and he wants to achieve f4, maybe knight g1, then f4. So I guess the moral of the story is he can achieve f4 if he really wants it. I guess that's what we're saying. But maybe this is the right way to go about things, because it would give me the opportunity to play bishop to f6. The idea being that if he goes f4, then I can take it and exchange these bishops off. And I mean, I can always come back to f6 if I want. Okay, I'm intrigued by this idea, so let's give it a whirl. Let's see how it goes. I suspect the engine may not care for it, but This is what we call a bad bishop because it's blocked in by its pawns. So it's not a bad idea if I can play bishop f6, take on f4, and trade off my quote-unquote bad bishop for his quote-unquote good bishop. And so now I'm kind of regretting playing rook e8. Had I left it on f8, I'd be all set to play f5. I mean, I certainly could play rook f8 and then f5, except for that move. So Patrick is striking in the center, which is a good strategy. So now if I take, he can take, and he's going to grab this bishop, I suspect. But maybe I can throw in knight g5. Well, I think that drops a pawn. And then he's got two guys on there. I've only got one defender. I could play my bishop f6 idea here now with the idea of taking here. That's actually pretty intriguing. So bishop f6. What if he goes knight c4, hitting d6? I can go queen to c7. Oh, wait a minute now. If I go bishop f6, he goes knight c4, I just grab it, because then I can give him two isolated pawns. So I wouldn't mind giving up the two bishops in that scenario. So if I go bishop f6, is he going to go like c3 just to be able to take back with a pawn? That might be his thinking. I don't think I should be overly concerned about that. If he plays c3, this bishop is just a big pawn. So let's see, c3, what would I do? What would I do? May not be a bad idea to go like this. Bring the knight to the king side. Let's see if, yeah, the knight on g6 would forever look at this square, so therefore discouraging knight f4. Do I have to be concerned if he takes here? Don't think so. I think that's fine. Looks fine. And I don't think there's anything going on here, is there? If I take, he could take here, then I'm taking his bishop. So I don't see any tactical nuances there. So we're gonna try this. Let's see how this works. So this is a very unique looking position. Okay, so one move I did not consider was c4. Because after c4, then there's realistic ideas of pushing to d5. So c4, if I go knight f8, d5, let's say takes, bishop d7, then it's all locked up. Don't think I want to go for that. So c4, I might be encouraged to take. And then I was thinking he might take with the knight, but then I was going to play c5. And we could have this takes, take back. Okay, so we might even get this. So c4, I was thinking of taking, and yes, he could take this. But my plan is to play c5. He would take this, hitting my queen, so I'd have to take back, and I even could take back with the F pawn, which would forever look at the D5 square. Or I could decide to take with the rook. Would I have any play against the E pawn? Probably not, because he's likely going to have that bishop, especially since I will no longer have my light squared bishop for long. So I think, yeah, this is probably not the way to give him all the space, and then my bishop is still stuck. So let's take it. Now, if he takes, I don't think I want to take the knight, because yes, I would give up the two bishops, but this would be in a less favorable way, because that bishop would be quite dominant. So I think, yeah, okay, so he took with the bishop, which makes sense. Makes sense. Now, I think this is one of those finesses that I've learned over time to do. So I would rather he takes me, because then I'm getting my pieces out. Basically, he's helping me develop. Whereas if I take him, I'm improving his position, because his knight gets to go in a nice square. So I'm almost looking at playing c5 here. I just have to evaluate that. Okay, this is fine, because I still have my light squared bishop, so I could always snap whatever were to go on to d5. So let us play that. And now the big question is, what am I taking back with? I could bring my knight back into play. And I don't think I'm as concerned about knight f4 anymore, am I? That might actually be rather annoying. I could take with this knight, with ideas of queen d7, knight g4, and that puts pressure on this this pawn. I think it would be useful to put the knight on g5 in some lines. So let's do that. So I have a backwards pawn on an open file. That's generally bad. The reason why it's backwards is because it cannot currently be defended by another pawn. Neither can it be defended by a pawn if we advance it one. We'd have to advance it twice in order for it to be defended by another pawn. And so it can be a target. Okay, so I was thinking queen d7, but maybe he's got e5 ideas in mind. He would tempo my queen. Well, that wouldn't be so bad, because I would get rid of this weakness. What about knight g5 here? That may not be so bad. Is it a liability, that pawn? I mean, I would be threatening to play g4. So I would imagine he would play g4. And that would create a hole on f4, so that might be useful for me. Okay, but of course he doesn't have to take on g5. He could just continue with his plan. I could take, and then he could take back. I take. Yeah, that could get a little uncomfortable. Maybe I just go to queen c7, and then yeah, you take. Then I put my rook on an open file. Maybe I should just be satisfied with that. Let's do that. The reason why I chose c7 is I do want to maintain connection with this pawn in case this bishop ever is freed up. So as it stands now, I've got the better bishop because my bishop is not blocked by his pawns. Pardon me. My bishop is not blocked by my pawns, whereas his bishop is blocked by his pawns. But I think that's only going to matter more as pieces come off. Because in the middle game, by having the pawns on white squares, it's taking away squares from my bishop. And I'm not going to be able to easily attack the pawns with my bishop in the middle game because he's got a lot of pawns, a lot of pieces, pardon me, to support their defense. Okay, so, I mean, I like this idea. Do we roll with it? Or do we first go rook here? Yeah, I mean, there's no guarantee that the d file is going to open, so. So what happens after knight g5 if he decides to go knight h4? That's certainly a question that needs to be answered. Do I pivot and then go queen d7 and put pressure on here? That's actually interesting. So let's look at that. Here, queen d7, g4. I almost wonder if I've got like some sacrificial opportunities there. Is that any good? The queen on g4. I mean, he could just go knight f5 there. I mean, I get a check. Get a check. Knight h3. King f1. Well, I mean, he could even just go knight h4 right now. Wonder if I can play g5 here. Is that too wild? That looks wild. g5. I mean, that's very aggressive. But the idea is awfully simple. I just want to play g4. And it also takes away knight h4. It would weaken these two guys, especially if he puts the queen on that diagonal. So I'd have to be very, very careful. So what happens here if he just goes, well, if he does that, I can play d5 check with the queen. I guess that's my thinking with the queen there. So let's say he ignores it. Let's say he ignores it and plays e5. So we go takes, knight takes. Am I really gaining anything out of g4? He could just ignore it and play h4. Okay. I gotta decide here. Gotta make a decision. Here, g4. And I wonder if I have h5 there. And he goes into f5. Then I could take on g4. That actually looks pretty good. Although he might have f4 in that line. Hold on. Here, 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 g4, h5. What about f4? Ooh. Now that's getting complicated. So he's hitting my knight. I could take, he could take, I could take. I don't think I've got enough there. That's too bad. That's a pity, as they say. Um, I really don't know. I could sack my knight on h3. Bishop takes. Knight takes check. King here. Yeah, then he's defending that. Could sack the knight. Bishop takes, and then bishop takes. That actually might be promising because I might be able to do like a rook lift. That's interesting. I might want to try that. So let's play it. We have to be practical here. We've already spent 6 minutes on that move. The previous move I spent 1.5 minutes, and I spent 2 minutes and 30 some seconds twice on previous moves. So sometimes you just got to get on with it. Get on with it and play a move. Okay, so let's see what he comes up with. Now the really funny thing is he could just go knight g1. And that's not really funny as in haha funny. Because of course the knight helps protect that. But I think if he does that, I can go bishop here, and on f4 I can go knight e6, looking at the d4 square. But then he probably just goes back to f3. I never did consider that move. So what are we doing here? So here, here, here. Knight back to f3. Okay, so he decided to go with that one, which is more aggressive. So let's look at this. Let's go queen d7. Oh, I'm just now realizing he could play f4 here, followed by f5. Shoot. Yeah, that's exactly what he did. So this is going to be an unintended sacrifice. All right, so not very smart by me. Not very smart. So the idea is if I take here, he plays f5, and my bishop is trapped. So I might go here, here, here. Then he's probably going to take here. Oh, but that might be risky, because then I would have queen h3 check. So maybe here, here, take, and then he'll take back. I'll take. So I'll be down a piece, but I'll have 2 pawns for it. Is there a better way for me to do this? Probably not, huh? Probably not. Wait a minute now. What about bishop takes? He takes. Is there any merit to playing knight g4? That might actually be useful, because then I could play... I thought I could play knight e3, but he just takes the damn thing. I think I gotta go this way anyway. I don't think I have much choice. So it takes, let's see, check. We go here. I don't really have much of a follow-up other than taking the bishop. So I could go here and kind of goad him into taking here, because then I'd have check here. Yeah, but even then he might be fine, because this check he comes out. So that might not be this knight g4 might be the better way to do it. So let's do that. Now he could take there, but then he's losing the queen, of course, because I would attack the queen. So I would expect him to go back. Yep. So it looks like I'm going to get 2 pieces here. 2 pieces for 2 pawns, pardon me, for the piece. Okay. I just messaged Patrick to tell him that this was not a planned sacrifice. Yeah, so this is a good, useful example of falling in love with an idea and trying to make it work. And then, of course, you overlook something. It happens. But, you know, we do have 2 pawns. So some compensation. And who knows, you know, after taking here, maybe I've got rook lift ideas. Now, if I was him, I probably would take back with the knight, because I'm going to take here, hitting the knight. Although maybe in the grand scheme of things it doesn't matter. Okay, so he decided to do it that way, but I was going to say, even if he took with the king and I took, I mean, it gives him a chance to put the knight on f5, which is a nice square. I don't think there's anything wrong with just grabbing the pawn, because I certainly don't want my king to have issues. And I like the idea of taking away these squares from his knight, so. All right, well, let's get a drink here while we wait to see what Patrick has in mind. Let me just mute here. How the heck do I mute? Can I mute on this? Okay, let's try this. And now we should no longer be muted. If my hardware is working excellent, it is. So if you are watching, I'd appreciate a follow. I just started on Kick. I almost said Quick. On Kick the other day. I do, at this time, primarily stream on Twitch, but I am giving Kick a fair try. And so it's possible that I'll stream more and more on Kick. We'll see. So knight f3 to hit this. I wonder if I could play queen e6. The idea being that if he takes, I play queen h6, hitting the knight. But that doesn't quite work because he just goes back, and of course the knight on f3 covers h2. So we'll have to abort that idea. Although another thought would be queen e6, knight takes, queen e5, hitting the knight and the g3 pawn. Is there any merit to that? Queen e6 takes, queen e5. What does he do? I suppose that's rather uncomfortable, because even if he goes like queen d2, I take here, and then I'm looking at the h2 square. What happens if he just goes e5 here? I just take? Yeah, maybe I just take. So here, here. I mean, you could just go queen here, perhaps. And maybe I've got time for like rook e6, rook h6. That's intriguing. The only thing I don't like about giving this pawn up is it does a nice job of taking these two squares away from his knight. Problem is if I go f6, that's seriously weakening the g6 square. Maybe I can be smart about it. I mean, queen e6 is the idea to go here. I wonder if is this too slow? Yeah, that takes 3 moves, whereas queen e6, that's only taken 2 moves. Okay. Is knight e5 an option? So if he takes, I play queen g4, and that might be dangerous for him. Do I want to give up that knight, though? That knight does a nice job. It's the only thing. It's a really nice knight in that location, so... Okay, I think I'm going to try Queen e6. Let's roll the dice. I think we have to roll the dice here with Queen e6. I wonder if he could even play Queen d2 here. Because if I go here, he could simply take. Because the knight is always covering that square. So after Queen d2, I might have to play here. Okay, so he played a move that I didn't even consider. Yet again, I'm missing moves. So let's see, what's the pawn situation? I've got 7, he's got 5, so 2 pawns. I could go here. Take, 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 take. Yeah, it's still only... Well, at that point it'd be 3 pawns, but my rook would be really awkward there. Is there any benefit to doing it this way? Well, then maybe he can successfully take there, because the queen is helping. So I might have to take my chances with the 3 pawns. Yeah, I think I'll have to, even though I hate the idea of giving up the queen. Queen f6. So he takes, I take. That may not be so bad. You could play queen e2, then I take here with check. You could play queen g3. Actually, that might just amount to something very similar. But in that case, I am keeping the queens on at least for the moment. That might be more stubborn. So how did that go? Queen, queen here. Okay. Simply attacking that. So if I go here, what if he just goes like, oh, he can't do that because I take here. So here, here, here. That might be okay. Okay, let's give that a whirl. It's in our best interest to keep the queens on. Now, unfortunately, maybe you can simply just go queen e2. Or even queen g2. But I suppose that's still in a favorable way for me because I keep the queens on. Might have f5 is kind of a funny looking move. I think I can just play g6 there, or yeah, because I don't see how he's attacking that. So I don't think knight f5 is anything to worry about. Be nice if, you know, if I can make use of the fact that the queen's hitting the rook, but the only thing I can see right now. Oh, oh, okay, okay, okay. I have to keep that in mind. See, that's why it's good to talk things out. If he goes queen g2, I take on e3, and then he's not able to take back because I grab the rook in the corner. So yeah, he's got to be careful. Probably the only try, if he wants to just move the queen, is queen e2, holding on to the knight. And then there's rook takes, and then he probably takes here, and then I take back. But again, queens are still on the board. And I'll have two major pieces around his king. So, I mean, this is what you got to do when you blunder. You got to make lemonade with lemons. When you're given lemons, make lemonade. So basically, do the best you can with what you're given. So let's see, what other ideas could he try? I mean, queen d1 is, I mean, I suppose that's possible, but that's just giving me a free pawn. I wouldn't think that would be the way he'd want to go. King g2 would be a blunder. Yeah, so I was just about to say that's probably the best way to do it. Just take the damn knight. Because the knight on g4, that's the only downside of going this way is that I lose that very impressive knight. The knight on g4 covers those two squares. So unless I'm mistaken, I think there's a good chance that we're going to have 3 pawns for the piece. And in that case, it's not so bad. It'll actually be an interesting rest of the game. Now again, I do have to do much better time management. I feel like I've been saying that my whole life though, when it comes to chess. Okay, so I don't see anything better than to take. And that's what I thought he would do. And so now, question is, where do I go with the queen? Queen here? Or queen here? If I go there, he's got knight f3 hitting queen and pawn. So what's the problem if I go here? So you're looking at queen g4. Maybe I can go queen d2. Then he's got knight f3. So queen f4, queen g4, queen f6. one way or the other, I think I might lose that G pawn. So maybe queen c3 is the best way. So if he goes here, I take here. Okay, let's try that. And if he hits my queen, I've got this check for what it's worth. Also, I could just ignore all that and go rook e6. Simple idea of winning the queen that way. It would be kind of nasty. So interesting position. Still some play left. I'm not dead yet, despite my oversight earlier. Okay, so if I check, is he just going to go queen f2? I guess we'll find out. So if he goes queen f2, then I could get a fourth pawn for the piece, and now we're really talking. Then we're really talking. And then in that case, I could look at trading the queens. I think that is still to his advantage because he can force the rook trade. Because if I move the rook from here, I lose d6, and then takes, and then the only way to defend that is rook d8. So I got a real passive rook. So it's probably not worth it from an activity point of view. So yeah, that's a good move. So now what do I do? I suspect here he's going to go here. Maybe. Well, let's see where he's going to go with that knight. Now, problem is I'm only playing with one piece at the moment. I have to get at least, whoops, not that. I have to get at least this guy in the game with rook e6. Once I get this guy out of here, I can think about bringing this guy into the game. I mean, it'd be really nice if I had g6 already, because then I could go like this, put pressure along the h-file. But if he goes knight here, I think I'll just go here. And if he goes here, I'll go here. And just keep up the fight stubbornly. Queen f5, I've got check, followed by maybe rook e5. Or even queen f5. I could check in the corner, rook e6. So interesting position. At the moment we have 3 pawns for the piece. Had an opportunity to get a 4th pawn, but we would have been saddled with a very passive position in the endgame. Okay, so there I think I can only just go here. That's really all I got. Ah, maybe he's got queen f5. Very clever, sir. Very clever, sir. Overlooked that. Yeah, that's unfortunate that I overlooked that. this is the problem with my position, is that I'm only playing with one piece. If I go queen e7, he's probably breaking through with e5. I hate to take here and then play f6. Give him the e6 square. If I go g6, he's got knight here, king here. And then maybe takes on g5. Yeah, problem is I can't go to g7 because he takes this with check. So I almost have to allow him to... Can I survive this if I play f6? Queen g6 with the idea of here. Looks awfully threatening. Go king f8. That looks awfully threatening. Oh, if I go f6 and he goes here, I take the knight. Okay. All right, so I think that's my best move. So we're going to get an endgame where I've got 3 pawns for the piece. I probably... I don't know. I'm not sure if I've got some drawing chances here or not. Yeah, so he wants to go down the H file, no doubt. But he does have this weakness that he has to deal with. So I might be able to keep him honest, keep him tied to that pawn. Even f5 is a threat here because the rook is only protected once. So maybe, oh, he can't go rook h1 because then I take it. So he almost has to go back to protect the rook. After which I wonder if I can bring my king in. That would be interesting. If I can go like king h5, get the knight to move, then play g here. Okay, what did he do there? He played, nice idea. So if I go here, he can take back with the knight. Okay. Very nice idea. Do I go like this and try to bust through that way? Risky. Risky, risky, risky. I don't think I should be giving him or allowing him to rid himself of that weakness so easily. So this might just be one of those positions where I have to sit and wait and not do much. Something that we human players don't do well. Now, the downside of having the king on g6 is that whenever I do play f5, he can take and it's check. But I played this because I don't want to allow him to go to h7 easily. Yeah, I'd be curious to know what the engine thinks here. You know, maybe it's like 1.0 for white. I don't think he's, I mean, he's certainly not 3.0, which he would be being up a full piece, but I've got 3 pawns for the piece. So I've got some compensation there. Okay, I thought he might try that. I was just going to go here, because his king and his rook are both tied to this pawn. Now, I don't think I want to... I don't think I want to open up any more files than I need to. Do I want to allow him to play a5? Might be okay. So move that rook down, because if I move that one up, then he could infiltrate. I don't want to allow that. So basically my next moves could be just going back and forth. So he might decide to trade the e4 pawn for d6. Okay, now he's found a solution. He says, no, 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 I'm going to use my knight to defend. Okay. Can I play rook h8? Does that do anything? Might have to come over with the king. Might have to come over with the king. So he's done a good job. He's making progress. That's what you want to do, slowly but surely. Now, the only problem with the king being there is that I don't have 2 attackers on the pawn, so therefore he can move his knight. That is unfortunate. For me, anyway. Yeah, this is going to be a tough defense for me. I might have to go like this. Try to open up some lines there. I can't stay totally passive here. And the big concern I have is if he could get a knight on d5. If he gets a knight on d5, then it's looking pretty good for him. Don't think I want to sit and wait. I mean, maybe I go rook h8, which might entice him to go rook h1. Okay, no, because he's going to do that. Okay. He can go to h7, but I'm going to kick him out. I could even go this way. So maybe if he goes back to d1, I'll go here. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe I want to use this rook. Okay, what's he doing with the king? Okay, let's see what he's going to do. If you're never comes in here, I could always check him away. Or even play g6 and then king g7, and then from g7, my king is covering all three of those infiltration squares. I have to make a quick decision on that. Okay, so do I... Yeah, I don't have to do anything just yet. I could have played b5 there, but sometimes you just got to accept when you're worse, you're worse. So just sit. Sit and defend. Sit and defend. It's not fun, it sucks. But sometimes you got to do what you got to do, right? Now, fortunately for me anyway, Patrick's time is running low. Okay. So maybe he's going to double up here. I think I finally see his plan. Yeah, I think I do see his plan. Okay. Don't know what his idea. What's his key idea? What's his killer idea? The problem is his weak e4 pawn. He's done well to get to this position. He's certainly making progress. Unfortunately, the knight is tied to the e-pawn. And the minute that the king goes to help out, I'm going to double up again. Oh. So that is some progress for him, yes. Okay, so let's double up. So it looks like he's going to get one of the rooks off. Very nice. Nicely done by Patrick. But of course, I want him to take my rook under my terms. Because if I take his rook, he's going to take back, and then he's going to have access to this last rank. Okay, so I think he's making some good headway, because after the rook exchange, he could play like king f3, and then the king holds on to the e-pawn, and that'll free up his knight, so his knight can actually be an aggressive piece. So he's playing very well here. Okay, oh, he did that. Okay, maybe he's just not quite sure what his thinking is. Could just transpose, I guess. He takes the rook. If he takes the rook, that'll just be a different move order. Okay, yep, exactly. So now I think I do want to go back to b5 and maybe b6. Yeah, b5, get him to take, because then I could target the b3 pawn. And he would have two weaknesses that he'd have to keep an eye out. b3 pawn and the e4 pawn. must say, despite the fact that my play wasn't great earlier, in that I completely overlooked that my bishop was going to get trapped, the game is, it's been a very entertaining one, to say the least. Okay, so he's going to improve the position of his knight. Very good. Probably knight e3, and then he's going to look at these two squares, is my guess. I had a move there with the rook here. I might have been able to throw that in and take here. King f3, rook here. Yeah, that was, I think, a better way to do it. Kind of disappointed that I didn't see that, but okay, so I take on a5. Does he have any dangerous checks that I need to be aware of? He's got a check here. I just play king f7. So I think we can take here, and now we're threatening the b3 pawn. And I think I'm still okay. I think I can play a4 here. Okay, so now I've got an active rook. And he's got 3 isolated pawns. So I'm feeling better about my chances here to draw. I think with best play, this should still be a draw. Hopefully my friend doesn't flag. Good. Okay, so he's going to win the d6 pawn. Is that his idea? Okay. So I might have to give that up. He's also threatening this move to win the g pawn, so I might have to go here. Or maybe just go back. Okay. I'm going to try a potential risky thought, but I want to get an active king. Okay. King there takes. So if I manage to get all his pawns, then it'll be a draw. Rook and knight versus rook is a theoretical draw. Okay, so his knight is holding on to the c4 pawn at the moment. Okay, so I could grab the a4 pawn. But maybe there's some value in keeping my pawns. But after rook f1, he's going king g6. Is that the thinking? Okay, let's see. So can I just push my pawn? I think I can. So who knows what's going on here now? So he probably could take on f6 because he's always got knight f6 to fork my pawn. Okay, so he's going to do that now. So if I take, he's got this. So if I take the knight, is that bad? So I probably don't want to risk it without analyzing. Let's go grab this A pawn. Okay. Go here. He might just defend the C pawn. Okay. Well, at least make him work for it. Now I think I can take this. See a reason why not. And then I thought I could go here. Be pesky. And who knows? I've got an outside pass pawn here. Okay, so he wants to take that. Okay, let's let him take that because we're going to take this one. And let's go up here. Or do I go down here? Risky, risky, risky. Oh, if I go there, he's got knight here. So let's not do that. That makes the choice pretty obvious. Okay, but now I got to worry about this. So those darn knights. Those tricky, tricky knights. Okay. Yeah, so he's going to win that G pawn. And I suspect he'll sack the knight for the pawn. Still some work to do for me. King here. You always get nervous when you're in time trouble and opponent has a knight. Such a tricky piece. So easy to fall into a fork. A devastating fork. So he can decide to just, yeah, maybe he's going to go for the perpetual. Oh, he wants to play it out. Okay. So I don't think there's really, maybe I just go here. No. Okay. I mean, he could check me on the right there, but I don't think that is really making much progress for him. I mean, who knows? It's possible. may very well just win this pawn. Okay. And we've got a draw. Okay. Tough fight. Let's see if he wants to do a quick post-mortem. So let's go to the analysis. Okay. Okay, we're okay. So we'll be right back because well, we're going to do a quick bathroom break, and then we'll do some analysis, and we're going to get Patrick on the line here if Discord's going to be nice to us. So we'll okay. So I'm back. Let's see. Just waiting for Patrick to get back. So thank you for everybody who's tuning in. If you haven't done so already, please do follow the channel. I'm just starting out here on Kick, so I'd really appreciate the support. Okay, so we're gonna try a call here. Okay. Hello. Oh, just a sec now. It's not detecting my mic. Hold on here. So we're troubleshooting on the fly here. So just hold on, folks. Let's see if we can figure this out. I suspect the reason is because I'm using the microphone here in OBS, but I've done this before, where I've streamed and also was able to have a call with people. So let's have a look at the settings here. We might. Where do I go for settings? Oh, rats. I just closed my browser. That's not good. Certainly that's not a good start. Are you serious? It's asking me to log in again? Okay. All right, just one sec, folks. Be with you in a second. Funny, Discord is asking me to log in again, which I don't understand, but we won't ask such questions to the powers that be of Discord. And it looks like we are okay. It looks like Patrick's got his settings, but let me try mine. Okay, let's try that. Test, test, test. Test, test, test. Voice and video. Input device. Let's try this. Is this working? It doesn't seem to be working. Okay, what about this? There we go. There we go. Okay, I think I've got it. Hello.
Hey, Aaron.
Hey, we got it figured out.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
So
good
I'm
game.
not watching your stream. Sorry, what?
I said good game.
Yeah, good game. That was a tough one. I know I messed it up, and you messed it up too with the fake sack. But yeah, that was really nice. That was fun. That was close
It was a
the whole
different.
way. That was
Yeah, it was an interesting imbalance at the end.
yeah. I was scared of your pawns on the king side.
Are you seeing the board right now, or like the analysis
um.
board?
So what I can do is pull up your stream on mute. You're streaming on Kick.
Yes.
Okay. I do have the game in front of me. I loaded it in Lichess. I haven't looked at the computer evaluation yet.
Okay. So you just want to. There might be a lag though if you follow me, if you follow the stream. I think there's a
Okay.
way. I think there's a way for me to invite you to the analysis board. Just give me a sec here.
Okay. I'm not the premium, so
There used to be a way. I think chess.com keeps changing things. What about? I don't think it's share. Hmm. Oh, maybe I have to add to a library. That might be the way to do
otherwise we could try to do it on Lichess.
it. That'd be kind of funny, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, just a sec here. So let's add to a library, and I think I can. think I can invite you to the library.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Now, I haven't used their library function that often, but let me have a look here. Where do I go to see my library? Hmm. Yeah, I find Lichess is a lot more like user friendly for. Okay, here we go. I found it for like just simple
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. Also, I'm, because you have a premium account, but I don't, so there's a bunch of things I can't do on chess.com.
Gotcha. Just a sec here.
Yeah, I'm looking at your screen. I don't know either where to click.
Yeah, it might be simpler just to pop over to Lichess. Maybe we'll do that for the sake of.
Okay, do we have a study on Lichess where we share stuff or no?
I could do that. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Just give me a sec here. Because it's probably gonna mess up the.
Actually, you know what? I think there is a study that I already have with our games that I've shared with you.
Okay. Let's have a look here. Study. Uh, private studies or
No.
studies.
Yeah, so it is studies. Do you want me to do it or do you want to do it?
Sure, sure. If you can get there.
Okay. I can actually, what I'll do is because I already have a study with our games. So I thought I had shared it with you, but I guess I didn't. So I'll add you.
Sure.
Let me see.
Just remember on Lichess, it's NotFischer RJ at the end.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Somebody had already taken the
Okay, so I
NotFischer.
think I've added you, and I'll add you as a contributor.
Perfect.
And so I just need to add the game. Let me try to add the game.
That's pretty cool. That's a good idea, actually. So we've
Yeah, we
got.
should have done that before, actually. Okay, let
I
me
didn't
see.
realize we've played so often, 13, but I guess
Yeah,
that makes
we
sense.
then we had a blitz match as well. Okay, let's see. I'll fix the I'll fix the labels and stuff later, but it's game 14. I just added it at the end.
Okay.
Then I don't know if I don't see a sync button. Maybe I removed it. Enable sync. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Okay, so now our windows should be in sync. So for
Okay.
example, if I scroll, do I see it on your screen?
You made a
Oh,
move. Yeah, I just saw it.
okay.
D4 knight
Okay,
f6,
yeah.
right?
Yep. So I'll let you lead this.
Um, oh, but that wasn't our game today because you didn't lead with D4. Hold
Oh,
on.
sorry. Am I not on the last? Oh no, you're right. Yeah. Oh, so what did I add?
Yeah. No. 14 starts with B3, so I just made the move B3. Yeah.
Okay, okay, yeah,
Yep.
got it.
I'm seeing it now. So
Okay, yeah.
I was surprised by move one
Okay.
because I was expecting another London.
Okay, yeah. I don't know. I've been playing B3. I've been playing Blitz, so it's kind of. But I was thinking I was gonna play C4, and then I went back to my habits. I didn't think about it. I played B3.
Okay. Well, I didn't mind because I wasn't really up for another London because we've played a few Londons already. So
Yeah,
I was happy to
and I
see that
think
you played something else.
yeah, I think you tend to beat me in the London, so I wasn't excited about it.
Understandable. So normally I play D5 here and just kind of
Okay,
play more classically and grab the center. But I just wanted to try something different with D6 to basically stunt the bishop on B2 with
okay.
with E5. So I was kind
You
of in.
never played. what's funny is you haven't played e5 and then I traded the bishops, which I regretted, but so yeah, so I guess you succeeded in. Oh, you did play e5.
I did on the third move. Yeah,
Oh yeah, that's why d4 was working. Yeah, okay, yeah. Sorry, I forgot.
yeah. So D3 surprised me a little bit, except you followed through later on by fianchettoing your other bishop. Because I was actually, before you played G3, I was going to say, I was in the middle of saying like D3. Normally, you go for a dark squared strategy when you fianchetto
Okay.
your bishop, like you'd go E3,
Yeah.
D4. Um,
Uh,
but I was actually saying on stream right here that unless he's planning to play G3, and like I almost like I didn't quite finish the sentence and you played G3, so
okay. Well.
because I thought you might have been going for um like a what do they call it, the hedgehog.
Yeah, I almost did. I almost played e3 and c4.
Yeah, I don't know if they call it the hedgehog when white plays it, but I
Yeah,
mean
I don't know.
I can't imagine it's much different. So yeah, once you decided to fianchetto, I played c6 to kind of stunt your other bishop.
Okay, I
Um,
did notice that. Yeah.
and then
Uh, Around here, I was wondering. So after castles, I kind of regretted not playing either knight to e2 or knight to d2 or e4 immediately because I was worried about e4.
oh, okay, okay. Um,
So yeah,
I never considered that honestly, but it makes sense. E4.
yeah, I thought I kind of castled too early.
So I guess the idea is if you go back to D2, I have E3 as a. Well, that's not quite as good actually.
Yeah.
That's common, but it's only common like when the bishop is still on C1.
Mm.
Um, but actually, I don't think that's. Is that working? Maybe it's working.
I
But Rook F3. Yeah, I don't think this is.
What about?
Hmm.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah. Oops.
Maybe I do have some pressure here. I thought you'd be able to just go h3, but I keep piling on the pawns, so. Although by this point, you might be able to push.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. The other thing is, I didn't think you would play if you had played e4. I didn't think you would continue with e3. So, for example, e4,
Yep.
uh,
Well,
and
of
let's
course,
say,
you don't have to go to d2 either, right? So,
yeah, no, but yeah, let's say I do. I mean, even I thought even this was kind of annoying, but I guess that's simple for me. You too, though.
I think
Next, you can
that's
even try this.
yeah, I think that's fine for you because you open the C file, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, you could take the other way too and open the E file if you want. I think you were seeing ghosts there. I don't think E4 is a big deal.
Okay.
Yeah, that wasn't on my radar. I was looking at well, I wanted to be able to play Bishop E6 and not have to deal with Knight G5 stuff.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
that's why I played H6.
Yeah. I figured. Yeah.
So you went Knight B to D2, which makes sense. And then I played Bishop E6, H3. Um, yeah, Rook E8. I don't know if I should have played that because later on I had an opportunity to play F5, and it would have been good
I
to have the Rook on
I
F8.
thought you would. I thought you would play f5 at some point. So when you played rook e3 or rook e8, I figured you wouldn't, and I did think f5 was a more interesting plan. Because I when I played h3, I was hesitating between either I forget what it was, but between not playing h3 and playing h3 and king h2 and maybe f4 at some point. And
Yeah,
I decided this way, thinking you might play f5 at some point, but then you played rook e8, so yeah, I did think you would leave your rook there for. a little bit.
Yeah, and actually now that I look at the position, I think it makes sense to go with the f5 plan. In fact, I could go knight h7, but in this position, I might even be able to. Can I get away with knight h5? Because if you ever kick me, I can jump in here, um, and I'm ready to play f5 next move. I think that would have been the
Yeah,
better way for me to play, actually.
yeah, yeah. H3 is kind of risky, I find, but
What were you concerned about with h3?
no, I wasn't concerned about anything. I was just trying to figure out where to take the game, and then I thought I would play on the king side because, and I thought you would play on the queen side. So after rook e8, I thought you would play. So for example, rook e8, I thought, eventually, I'm not sure where I thought, but maybe b5, a5, queen somewhere on the queen side. I thought I was gonna play on the king side. You were gonna play on the queen side,
Okay, interesting.
and so yeah, so h3, I was just preparing to play on the king side,
I
and I
was at.
thought I was gonna. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I thought I was going to be able to defend if you decided to also play on the king side. I thought there was going to be fireworks if you started to play on the king side as well, because my king, which with h3, king h2, I knew it was a risk. So
Yeah. Normally you play h3, kind of like why I played h6, because you have your bishop on e3.
okay, well I was preparing king h2 and f5 and f4.
Yep, yep. No, it worked out for you. My thinking with rook e8 is I wanted to actually play in the center, so I was thinking
Okay,
queen c7, knight here, and then at some point going d5. That was my
okay,
thinking.
yeah. In this situation, the problem was the e5 pawn was so weak.
Yep, I had to overprotect it if I wanted to move my d pawn. Yep.
Yeah.
So here you went king h2. Whoops, I hate when I do that. Sorry about that. King h2, and then I just brought out my next piece, and then I figured at some point you have to commit to either c4 or e4, and
Uh-huh.
you decided to play more of a King's Indian attack
Yeah.
with e4,
Yeah.
and then I fell in love with this idea of knight h7, bishop f6. I like that idea in the game. I just don't think my knight g5 later was a good idea. Um,
Okay.
But even here, maybe I should just keep going with my intended plan of queen c7. And then,
Okay, so what was your intended plan? I did think you were going to play bishop to f8 at some point.
yeah, so I think I was going to go bishop f8, rook here, and then try to get in d5.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that does look good actually because my king is kind of misplaced.
And I don't know how you can apply more pressure on e5 because if you ever go knight c4, well, I mean, I could snap it off, but I could even consider b5.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, let's look at this. Like you could go knight h4, and you're all set for f4, right? So
Okay, I don't know that I would play f4 because for example, f4 takes and then I don't have a good way to take back. It seems like.
that's true. With your king on h2 and my queen on c7, yeah, that makes sense actually.
Yeah, but then what you just mentioned, knight c4, e3, and then I might be a better place to play knight to f5.
Yep.
But
Yeah, maybe you can prepare it. Maybe go here first.
yeah, sometimes I play a4 also, but yeah, I don't know if it's good.
It's not a bad idea to play a4 if you're intending to put the knight on c4 because
Yeah,
you're trying to discourage black from kicking your knight.
yeah, but even opening the c file looks good for you.
Um, why do you say that?
Well, they have open c file, not my c file, but for example, if let me see, let's say a4. I mean, so just to make it look really stupid.
Oh, doing it that way. Yeah.
Yeah. So, or maybe the other rook even, instead of. But yeah, whatever. I didn't feel like going into that.
Yeah, I thought the way that you were playing was fine. I mean, I thought all your moves were logical. Um,
Okay, good. And the same, Aaron.
Knight h7. Oh, you thought my moves were logical?
Yeah, that was a joke.
well, well, they were logical up until I blundered there.
Yeah.
So like d4 makes sense to me. I mean, I'm trying to do stuff on the king side, so the theory is, or the chess wisdom is that you strike in the center when somebody's trying to do something on the wing. So d4 made sense to me.
Okay, I did regret C4 though.
Okay, interesting. Why? I thought it made
'Cause I
sense.
okay, I didn't intend to trade the bishops. I missed that after takes and knight takes, I've got a problem. So I was looking at this move and even this move.
Yeah, I was planning c5 here. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why I didn't do it. So that's why I regretted C4. So instead, I realized later in the game, right after I played it, I realized I didn't have to respond in the center. So
So
let me
what were
see.
you
Oh yeah, so
what
I could have.
yeah,
Sorry.
what were you thinking as an alternative here?
I mean, even Rook B1 might be. I didn't think much about the alternatives because I played it too fast. But Rook B1 and just leave it like that. So for example, if you play now I can take with the knight, and I'll get the bishop pair.
Okay, so if
So
I continue with my idea of c5, you're going to grab on e6, I'll take back.
uh, okay,
Actually, I was considering taking back with the pawn. Um,
okay.
and I guess in this instance, you don't have to trade the bishop. Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, I didn't see it this way though. You're right that the bishop to C1 looks a little bit stupid.
Yeah,
Me-
that's one of those
yeah,
situations where, like, yeah, the bishop pair is nice, but it's only nice if both bishops are doing something.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Maybe it wasn't so bad the C4.
I thought it looked fine to me. It makes sense, right? Because after c4, you have an immediate threat of
Yeah,
d5.
yeah.
So I thought it was fine. So
I just
take.
felt like there after e takes d4, my options were very limited. I had to take back with the bishop. So I just missed the fact that I was out of options if you took. And this I didn't like c5 because then the d6 pawn is backward.
Yeah, it is. I guess maybe I was a little too optimistic. I don't know. I'm gonna turn the engine on just to see what it says as an evaluation. Yeah, so
Okay.
it's
Well,
it's
it
it
turned out fine. I mean, I never actually won d6, so
okay. It says point 0.9 in White's favor. And what's the evaluation before? Before it's point 0.2. So yeah, it looks like the engine
okay.
agrees with you. Yeah, it wants to play a5.
Okay.
Maybe the idea is a5. Whoops, a5 so that I can play knight c5, and you don't
Yeah,
you, you,
maybe.
you don't have b4. Okay, now it's going up a little bit, but yeah, it looks like the engine doesn't like my c5. Takes. Now I took with the d knight. It wants to take with the h knight.
Yeah, I thought the knight h7, you said you liked it, but I don't think I liked it at any point. I thought the knight was out of squares, it was out of the action.
My intention was always to come with either knight g5 or try to get you to play h4 to take away the square.
Okay.
But yeah, it didn't
On
really turn out for me.
Yeah, no, well, I mean, you did blunder, but on knight g5, I was thinking about knight to h4, and then the only square back for the knight is knight to h7. So
Yeah, yeah. I think that's what happened in the game, right? Um,
maybe, yeah.
so rook e1, queen c7,
Okay,
queen c2. I think everything's fine. Engine agrees. It's still 1.0 for you.
okay.
And now knight g5.
Oh, and
Uh,
I did play knight h4, yeah.
it's 1.3, now it's 1.0. Yeah, so obviously I just chose the wrong plan. I just fell in love with this idea of pressure on H3 and just
The other
trying to
way to do
trying
it,
to open things up, but it didn't quite work out for me.
yeah, the other way to do it was queen to c8 instead of queen d7. I thought you would play queen to c8.
Okay. Like in this position?
No,
Or
no, no. When you played queen to d7.
okay.
So, still attack h3, but at least leave a square for the bishop.
Oh,
I
yes. Okay.
Because then you don't have to lose a piece.
But now, okay, engine says 2.4, probably because after
Okay.
probably because after F4 I just
Yeah,
got to
no,
go
it does.
back.
Yeah, f4 does look good.
Yeah. So I even said it on the stream afterwards. It's just one of those cases where you fall in love with an idea and it's you kind of forget about your other options and your idea turns out to be
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised, to be honest.
So after I played Queen D7, I think it took me a few seconds and I was like, oh crap, he's got F4, F5. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
so unintended piece sack.
I had seen it when I was looking at queen to c8.
So interesting. The knight engine wants to play knight takes H3. I looked at that, but then I figured F5 and like my knight is
Yeah.
trapped as well.
Yeah.
I guess I go back right away. Okay.
The way
I
you
thought,
played it, though, I think that was the what gave me the most trouble. I think that was a good way you played it, because I,
yeah,
I kind of missed I kind of missed that g4 was available to your other knight. So then it was kind of hard to defend.
and an important thing is like the fianchettoed bishop is such a valuable defensive piece. So
Yeah.
the way that I did it traded the bishops. Um, but let's see. Maybe we both missed an idea. So here, knight g4 check. And like I said in the game, you can't take because of this,
Uh-huh.
which of course you saw. So king back, bishop takes, h. Okay, so it actually wants to take with the king. Yeah,
Okay.
I thought you might do that because the idea is that after I take here, you've got f5.
Yeah. Knight f5. I forget what I was gonna play, but I did think about it for a long time.
And the thing
I
is, if
couldn't
if I
decide.
if I ever like evict your knight, well, you just got to play queen b2, and that's a deadly diagonal,
Oh, I did miss that though.
right? So
Okay, I
like you might
missed
even
that.
be able to just play knight e3 here and question the knight here for me. I got to make a decision. What am I doing with that knight?
Well, I missed that g6 was maybe good for me. I thought it was good for you. I thought you would play, king g7, rook h8, because I was kind of getting worried about my king. So yeah.
Well, let's have a look at that. So king g7. Um, you could play queen to b2. Engine is actually giving f6. Yeah, I guess I don't want to play knight f6 because that's a bad pin. So f6.
f6.
I guess the thing is, like with your knight here, it's a nice square. Um, do you even have to take the knight here? You could just leave it, maybe.
I don't know. I was thinking about taking the knight and then attacking f6, but it's short-lived.
Okay, actually, the engine says queen c3
Okay.
to protect this, and the idea is that if I go rook h8, you now no longer have to keep the rook on that knight. You could play rook h1.
Okay.
Yeah, so once you get a rook on h1, you shouldn't have any worries on the h file.
Yeah. No, this looks much better than what I got in the game.
Okay, but I mean certainly knight takes g2 makes a lot of sense as well. Like
Yeah, I don't think that was the worst. I think I kind of regretted knight to f3. I thought that was the more active one, but then because I was hesitating between knight to f3 and knight to f1,
yeah,
and
and
I took the more active one, but knight f1 prepares some knight to e3, one of the two knights.
so your advantage goes down about a pawn here with knight f3.
Okay. It might
Um,
be the G3 pawn.
yeah, I think so. And I think this makes sense to go knight e3 because you're strongly suggesting that I should move back. Otherwise, you're just going to trade it at some point.
Yeah, I don't even know that I saw knight to e3. I think I was only looking at the other knight moving. Not sure why.
Maybe because it's been sitting on d2 all game. I mean,
Yeah,
you know,
and I was kind of
sometimes we do that, right? Psychologically, it's like, well, I got to do
yeah.
something with that knight, right? Because I haven't moved it since like move 5 or something.
What was annoying me about the knight was the queen being blocked, access to the king side.
Right, right, and that's why knight e3 would have also been useful for that as well, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, but I get you. You're saying with this knight, yes, yes,
Yeah, well, both knights were kind of in the way of the queen because I was looking at queen h3. I was worried at some point you would get queen h3 or queen g4 or
right.
yeah, queen g4, which you did close to anyway.
Now, I wasn't sure in the game if this was objectively the best thing, but I think it was a good practical choice to at least, throw some ideas at you. Like I'm looking at queen f6 and queen
Yeah,
h6.
queen f6 was queen f6 was amazing. Queen f6 I missed, and then and I think yeah, I think my advantage slipped away there with queen f6.
Well, it's interesting. The engine actually likes your knight e3, which I didn't find a problem with it, and it wants me to take on e4, but I assess
Okay.
this as
Yeah,
what did I look at? I looked at hold on now, hold on. Was this?
I looked at knight takes.
Wait, you
So for
got it.
example,
Oh, knight.
queen ta-
Maybe it was
so
later. Maybe it was later. Maybe I could have taken here with the queen.
well, so here I was looking at, and I don't know if it's good. I was looking at knight takes, rook takes, and then the rook doesn't have many squares. So for example, let me put it on the board. So queen takes c4, okay, and then rook takes c4. I was looking at this,
Yeah.
and I have to defend the pawn, but the rook doesn't have any squares.
Yes. I
I
was
don't
just
know what's the best way.
I was just about to say that. And that's why
So
that's why I rejected it because I saw the rook
okay,
going to g4 and I was like, well,
okay,
I don't think it can get
yeah.
out.
Yeah, I was really hoping for this. Also, I was getting to keep the G pawn because I was worried about the G pawn, and I did end up losing it because 3 against 1 on the king side was much more comfortable, it seemed, than you know 3 pass pawns.
Yeah, yeah. So I tried queen f6.
Yeah, here
Uh,
I almost blundered a few times.
yeah. What were you considering?
Oh, I was looking at. Sometimes I was looking at rook f1. Sometimes I was looking at what was it? Uh,
Queen g2?
something that. Yeah, yeah, something like that. And then knight takes was losing the rook.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was looking at a bunch of blunders, one after the other, and then I was circling back to the previous blunders. It was ridiculous. I couldn't find a move there.
Well, you found a good move. Taking is fine. I took. Okay,
Here I
so
couldn't find how to protect. I guess I was losing g3, but
you are, yes, yeah. And so queen g2, and at this point, I've got 3 pawns now for the piece.
yeah,
So I was
I
feeling
know.
I was feeling better, but I still thought I was worse. And
Yeah,
I figured the engine was at least 1.0 for you, maybe 1.5, and it's showing 2.0, which doesn't surprise me.
yeah.
Um,
No, I too. I thought I was gonna be able to pull it off, but I knew it was gonna be difficult. But
so rook, what did you do here? Okay, yeah, and I checked. Okay, interesting. Yes, this was the time. This was the moment where I could have taken on e4, and I rejected it.
yeah,
And it
yeah.
actually it actually gives that I should go that route. So let's see what it
Okay,
found. So what I looked at was rook takes,
okay.
and what was it that I didn't like? Yeah,
I
queen
looked at
queen
queen takes
takes,
c4.
queen takes. This is
Okay.
what I had analyzed. Rook takes, and then I didn't like this.
Yeah, that's what I was planning. That's what
And
I was hoping for.
and this is interesting. It actually says 0-0. But
Yeah, I see.
when I looked at this, I thought, well, now I have to go rook d8 to protect this stupid
Okay.
pawn.
Maybe the king
Um,
is gonna come to the center.
but I guess that's it, right? It's three pawns against nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that was tough.
But
Like you said, that was quite the imbalance.
I just thought here, like, generally you don't want to have such a passive rook, right? But maybe you're right. Maybe the king comes over and then you
Yeah,
can play
yeah.
from
I
the
think
rook.
it's only temporary, but I missed it too. I thought that it was gonna be good for me.
Okay. So I played queen e5, knight there, and then you played queen f5. Good move.
Yeah, here
Um,
you kept on backing up. I was
I
starting to feel more confident.
Yeah, I thought you were making headway here.
Yeah.
King here is fine. Okay. King f3. Okay. Rook here. Yep. So now it actually wants me to play g6, which I really debated. I wasn't so sure because there's a risk involved with me playing g6.
Yeah, you can never go back. I the whole time I was worried about G6.
I was always worried that you'd somehow get both rooks here, and
Mm,
with me playing g6, I opened myself up. But maybe it
yeah.
was not possible for you because of this weak e4 pawn.
Yeah, and then I'm seeing the engine evaluation. It's not that high. I mean, I think it's a fair result that it ends in a draw.
Okay, so it didn't like king g6. So
What I didn't like about King G6 for you is so it removes the option of G6 and it also removes the option of F5 because now it comes with check. Because my pawn is pinned, or at least sometimes it's pinned. Now in the position you're looking at, it's not pinned, but
right.
uh, so yeah, so my pieces were tied down. I mean, yeah, so
I
so
think
King
you're right.
G6 I didn't like.
I think I was more concerned about your rook coming here,
Okay,
and I was concerned about g6 being too weakening.
yeah,
But yeah, in hindsight, I should have played g6 because whenever you do go rook h1, I play king g7
yeah, yeah, yeah.
if I'm worried, and
I
I've got those squares covered.
Yeah, and I almost don't have any moves because the rook can't move because it's going to be pinned. The pawn is going to be pinned. The knight can't move because the pawn is going to be pinned. The king can't move because the pawn's going to be pinned. So
Well,
it's kind of a
What
difficult.
happens here? Can you go knight f2? And then I guess
Knight f2. What
I'm
about
playing.
this move?
Yeah, it looks like I'm playing f5 anyway, right? Yeah,
Yeah, because it's pinned.
gotcha.
Yeah, so I was kind of in a bind. Yeah, I couldn't move, so I didn't know how to make progress.
Yeah, I thought in this position here that it was going to be tough for you, but then I guess not understanding that king g6 is not the right way to go, you made some really good progress here. So
Yeah.
rook h1, a6, a4, and I debated playing b5, but I was like, I'm just gonna sit because I knew I was worse. I'm just gonna sit.
Mhm.
But but then but then you made some really good headway. Um, you brought your knight because now you're
Okay.
not
See.
so concerned about
Yeah.
f5.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
And so I just was sitting, and then rook h1. You were able to double up on the h file.
Yeah, and you know why I was able to double up? I think looking back at it, I think it's because you moved this rook. You said you just wanted to sit, but then you left the defense of the d6 pawn, and then you had to defend. So you went back, and then that gave me a move.
Right.
Then yeah. So because I thought when you played rook 6 e7, I thought that gave me time.
In hindsight, yeah, I should have just moved the king because I mean, yeah, you could go rook h7, but I could just go even king g8,
Yeah, yeah.
and
King
you'd
g8
have to
gives the
move it
other
out.
rook is. Yep.
Yeah, and so in a few moves you're going to have both rooks, and then I thought, wow, like the position went from I don't see how he's going to break through to he's made some really good progress here. So I thought you were
Right.
doing well here,
Yeah.
but still not quite. It's not so easy to see how you're going to.
Yeah, it's not. And then as soon as you double attack the pawn in the center, the e4 pawn, my knight can't move.
It's still
So
the engine
it's
engine still favors you, but I don't know. I was feeling that this was going to be quite hard for you to win.
yeah. No, I did too. And then right there, the knight move, I think I messed it up.
Yeah, and
But I missed it. Go ahead.
I saw this move, and this is the move the engine recommends. I only saw this after I played it.
Oh, you know what? I didn't see it. Okay.
That
Yeah,
would have
that's an interesting move because now you have two pass pawns.
and my rook is active, and
Yeah, I missed that. Yeah, that's the other move that I missed that you played was b6 instead of b4, instead of b5. I was looking at b5 the whole time, and then you played b6, and then I had to scramble. Like
right.
here when you played b6, then I started to worry. I knew I had to give up a pawn temporarily, at least.
Yeah, and it says 0-0 here, which
Okay,
yeah,
yeah,
I felt once I got your a pawn that this was just going to be a draw.
yeah.
So I think that was a fair result in the end.
It is. Yeah, no, yeah, no, it is. I feel like
Okay.
I should have won after you blunder, but yeah, the end game in particular, I think you really, yeah, yeah, you didn't give me any chance.
Yeah, I posed enough problems for you, um,
Yep.
and didn't make it easy. I felt I had to resist the queen exchange for as long as possible, because once the queens come off, I felt that your job was easier. So that's why I kept the queens on for as long as I could.
Yeah,
Um,
I have mixed feelings about that, so I don't really recall what the engine evaluation is in that spot, but like around here, I thought you were giving me a lot of moves, and here we ended up trading queens anyway. So, for
yeah,
example, trading queens in this position, I like this position better after having traded queens than, for example, here when you take the pawn or
yeah,
where else, like here, for example, or so yeah. So I thought you were giving me too much space. You
yes.
were kind of giving space back because you kept on backing up your queen to not trade, and then we traded anyway. So yeah, so I have mixed feelings about that.
I think you're right. I think I shouldn't have gone backwards. I should have taken the fourth pawn on e4, because I just kind of overlooked that I would have three passers here. Even if my
Yeah,
even if my rook was defensive, it was only temporary, like you said.
yeah, no, no, but during the game I did miss that it was only temporary though. I thought I was gonna have an advantage with
Yeah.
the queen trade in the center.
Okay. Um, are you good with the analysis?
Yep.
Okay. Do you
Yeah,
want
I
to?
think we covered it.
You still up for a second game?
How do you feel? I'm up for it.
Oh, I'm good. I'm good if you are.
Okay. Okay, yeah,
Um,
sure, we can play it, yeah.
okay. So I'll meet you back on chess.com and I'll send you the
Okay.
challenge.
All right, perfect.
All right.
All right, good luck.
Yeah. You too, Patrick.
All right, see ya.